The year is 2035. In a hidden laboratory beneath the streets of Geneva, a team of physicists has done the impossible. They have cracked the code of time itself. Their discovery, a device no larger than a wristwatch, capable of bending the very fabric of reality. They call it the Chrono Key. Dr. Elias Carter, the lead scientist, is the first to volunteer for the test. His destination? The year 1895. His mission? A simple observation: watch history unfold without interference. But as he activates the device, something goes terribly wrong. Instead of arriving in Victorian England, he finds himself standing in an empty city, a place familiar yet hauntingly different. The streets of London stretch before him, but there are no people, no sound, just silence. Elias realizes the truth with a growing sense of dread. He has not traveled through time. He has stepped into a parallel timeline, one where humanity never existed. Panic sets in. He fumbles with the chrono key, desperately trying to reset it. But the device does not respond. The air grows heavier, the silence more oppressive. And then he hears it, a voice. Not a voice from his own time, but something else. Something ancient, something that should not exist. The whisper grows louder, forming words he cannot understand. And then, just as suddenly as it began, he is back in the lab, gasping for breath. His colleagues stare at him, their faces pale with fear. "What did you see?" they ask. But Elias does not answer, because he knows the truth now. Time is not a river, it is a web, and some things, some beings, exist between the threads, watching, waiting. What if we were never meant to travel through time? What if every time we try something else follows us back? Elias spends weeks trying to understand what happened. His initial excitement over the chrono key has turned to fear. He reviews the data. From his journey, analyzing every anomaly, every inconsistency, he finds something chilling: energy signatures that do not correspond to any known form of matter, traces of something else, something unexplainable. As he digs deeper, he begins to dream, vivid, terrifying visions of vast, empty landscapes, structures that defy physics. And always, in the distance, shadowy figures watching him. The whispers return, not in the lab this time, but in his own mind. Determined to find answers, Elias persuades his team to conduct another experiment. This time, they send an unmanned probe through the chrono key. The probe is programmed to return after 5 minutes. When it reappears, something is different. The metal casing is covered in strange, unreadable symbols. The onboard data is corrupted, except for a single file, a distorted audio recording. It takes days to decode, and when they do, they hear a voice, Elias's own voice, speaking in terror. "Do not come, do not follow, they know, they are coming." The team is shaken. They argue over the next steps. Some want to destroy the chrono key, to bury their research forever. Others believe they must push forward, that knowledge is worth any risk. Elias, however, is no longer sure. The nightmares worsen. The whispers become more insistent. He begins to see things, shadows that vanish when he turns, reflections in the mirror that do not match his own movements. He knows now that they brought something back with them, or perhaps they never truly returned at all. Then, one night, Elias disappears. His apartment is left untouched, his research notes scattered on his desk. The only clue is a message scrawled in his handwriting. "Time is not what we think. It is watching us." The lab is shut down. The chrono key is locked away, its technology deemed too dangerous. But the whispers do not stop. Those who worked on the project report strange occurrences, visions of alternate realities slipping into their own. Some claim to have seen Elias, standing in a crowd watching but never speaking. And so the question remains, what if time travel is possible, but we were never meant to use it? What if, every time we try, something else is waiting on the other side? The Chrono Key project was officially shut down, but the mysteries it uncovered refused to fade. Even after Dr. Elias Carter's disappearance, those who had worked alongside him could not shake the feeling that something remained unfinished. The project files were sealed, the laboratory abandoned, but whispers of strange occurrences continued to circulate. It was as if the very fabric of reality had been disturbed, and something was watching from the cracks. Dr. Amelia Rowe, a former colleague of Carter, could not ignore the unanswered questions. For weeks, she pored over the corrupted data retrieved from the probe that had ventured through time. The symbols on its casing, unreadable at first, now seemed eerily familiar. They matched patterns found in ancient cave paintings across the world, symbols left behind by civilizations long before human history was even recorded. Had someone or something been trying to warn them all along? Despite the risks, Amelia knew she had no choice. The Chrono Key still existed, hidden away in a classified government facility. Breaking into it was no easy feat, but the knowledge it contained was too valuable to be left buried. With the help of an underground network of rogue scientists and researchers, she retrieved the device and activated it once more. But Amelia was not reckless. She learned from Carter's mistakes. Rather than stepping blindly into the unknown, she devised a plan to send another probe, this time with an advanced AI system designed to report back in real time. The device hummed as it powered up. The air in the room grew heavy, the temperature dropping by several degrees. The moment the probe was sent through, every screen in the lab flickered with static. At first, there was only darkness. Then, a picture slowly resolved. A city, or rather, the ruins of one. Skyscrapers stood crumbling, their glass facades shattered. Roads were cracked, overtaken by nature, and yet there were signs of life. Shadows moved in the distance, tall humanoid figures but distorted, as if struggling to maintain a solid form. The probe transmitted its location data. The results sent chills down Amelia's spine. It was Earth, but the year was not 1895, nor was it any known period in history. The probe had landed in the year 4327. As Amelia and her team scrambled to make sense of what they were seeing, the AI system picked up a signal, faint but unmistakable. It was a message, broadcasted on a loop, spoken in a distorted version of English. Time as broken. Return before it's too late. Then the screen went black. Panic set in. Amelia tried to recall the probe, but the system failed to respond. It was stuck, trapped in a time period that should not have existed. And then, something else happened. A new transmission appeared. This time it was not automated. A face flickered onto the screen. A man. His features were gaunt, his eyes hollow, his voice weak but unmistakable. It was Elias Carter. "Amelia," he whispered. "I was right. Time is not a river, it is a prison, and we have been breaching its walls." Before she could react, the feed cut out. The lab lights flickered, the air crackling with an energy that should not have been there. And in that moment, Amelia understood. They had not just discovered time travel. They had broken something fundamental, and now reality itself was beginning to unravel. The question was no longer whether they could control time. The question was, could they fix what had already been done before it was too late?